Hello sports fans, Coach Carroll here with SportsBanter38, and today we're going to do our preview on the AFC and NFC South. This will be our last video for the previews before I do the video for the playoffs, and I will have that video out here in the next couple of days. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started so we can get through this. I'm going to start with the AFC South. And on the bottom of the AFC South, I have the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, I do know Andrew Luck is back this season. He's apparently healthy, and I guess he's got his injuries under control. No, I'm not completely sold on the Colts just because Andrew Luck is back. I still got them on the bottom of the AFC South. Now, that's not to say here in the next year or two that the Colts make a rise and are much better and they contend for the AFC South title. But right now I just don't think they're quite ready. I'm not sure Andrew Luck is quite ready. He's missed quite a bit of football, probably at least a year and a half, I'm thinking, or almost two full seasons. I don't feel like he can come back and just be the same Andrew Luck as before he was injured. And then to top that off, I'm not completely sold on this roster. I still don't think they're there. In the draft, they did go for a couple offensive linemen in the first two rounds, two good offensive linemen. So they're definitely trying to shore up the protection for Andrew Luck. As far as the running game's concerned, they do have Marlon Mack. He's still not quite proven. Of course, they're losing. They lost Frank Gore. Marlon Mack, he had about 350 yards last season. So it's pretty much an experiment. Wide receiver, they still have T.Y. Hilton. And who else we got? We got Ryan Grant. So, I mean, there's some new pieces on this team. Like I said, I'm not sold on these guys. And I'm thinking they're going to wind up somewhere around 6-10 or so. So, that's what I'm expecting out of the Colts for this season. Like I said, I'm not expecting a huge jump up just because Luck is back. I feel like it's going to be a year or two, and then we'll see from there. We'll take it from there and see what they can do. Moving up in this division, I've got this division probably different than a lot of people. A lot of people have the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the division. I got them finishing third, and the reason behind that is, first off, let's just say I know they've got a great defense. Jalen Ramsey is a stud defensive back. They also have Yannick Ngakoue. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing this guy's name. Defensive back DJ Hayden. Let's see. We'll get on the defensive line. Jackson Jones, Campbell, Smith, Miles Jack. They got some talent on this very good defense, and I believe the defense is going to be good. Then you go over to the offense, and you've got Fournette at running back, T.J. Yeldon, Marcus Lee at wide receiver. Let's see. I believe they just got somebody else in. Dante Moncrief. So they don't have a terrible supporting cast on offense. They do have Blake Bortles. I'm not sold on Blake Bortles. I know he got him to the AFC Championship last year. I don't feel like that is going to be the same situation this year. I feel like things kind of fell into the right place, and they got into the AFC Championship. They had a couple good games against Pittsburgh and can't remember off the top of my head who they beat. Let's see. They beat Buffalo in the first round. They beat Pittsburgh in the second round before losing to New England in a close game. So, I feel like Jacksonville, I got them finishing around 8-8, and that's the way I got Jacksonville looking this year. Like I said, they got pieces, but they usually don't seem to come together. Last year it came together at the end of the year, and they played pretty good. But yeah, I'm not sold on Bortles, and I think honestly Bridgewater just signed with New Orleans, I believe. Jacksonville probably should have went after Teddy Bridgewater because I believe he's better than Bortles, and I believe if he was playing for Jacksonville, I would probably pick Jacksonville to win the AFC South, but I'm still not sold on the quarterback. And like I said, I know they went far last year, but Bortles' problem is consistency, and I feel like he's going to miss this year. That's just, like I said, I'm not sold on Bortles. So, moving along, the number 2 team in the AFC South, in my estimation, will be the Houston Texans. They have Deshaun Watson back, and he looked great last year. Let's see, he missed from he played the first 8 games, and he had 1,700 yards, 19 touchdowns with 8 interceptions. Very, very good showing for Deshaun Watson. And I felt like he was the best quarterback in that draft, and I believe he proved it. I don't believe he blows it up like he did last year. I feel like he has somewhat of a sophomore slump, and he takes a step back. But I still feel like they will be good enough. And, of course, we already know the Titans are the last team in this division. I've got them picked to win it. I believe Vrabel, he knows Houston. I believe the Titans will be prepared for the Texans, and that's why they'll lose this division. I feel like they'll get swept by Tennessee. I believe they'll sweep the Colts. They'll probably split with the Jags, and I see the Texans coming out with about a 10-6 record. Of course, on offense, they've got DeAndre Hopkins. They've got a Will Fuller at wide receiver, Griffin at tight end, Miller at running back, and then of course on defense, Clowney, T.J. Watts. I mean, they're pretty stacked on defense on every level. They picked up Tyrann Mathieu. That's huge. They're already good on defense, and here they are bringing in these guys. They're looking pretty good, and like I said, I got them just slightly finishing behind the Titans. Let me do the Titans, and you'll see what I mean by how slight it will be. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on, and at the top of this list we have the Tennessee Titans, and of course new coach Mike Vrabel. Of course, Kevin Byard, our safety, had a huge year last year, tied for lead in interceptions. Our quarterback Marcus Mariota, with new offensive coordinator Matt LaFleur, I feel like the offense, they were running like a 1988 offense. And with LaFleur in the mix, I believe he's going to open this thing wide open. I believe the Titans have had talent at wide receiver despite the lack of production. I don't believe the athletes were being used correctly, and I believe that really hurt the Tennessee Titans the last few years. With LaFleur in the mix, it's going to bring everything up to date. They brought in Dion Lewis. Derrick Henry has he's slimmed up a little bit. Still a big kid, but he's a little more light on his feet. He's in preseason so far. He's really hitting it up there into the line and running the ball the way he's supposed to be running it. It's like I said, everything is looking wonderful with the Titans. Defensively, they have Dean Pease as the defensive coordinator. Of course, they got Jarrell Casey, inside linebacker from Alabama, Rashawn Evans. He should be able to step in and contribute right away. Defensive back, Adoree Jackson. And we got Butler from Malcolm Butler from the New England Patriots. With those two in there, we should have a pretty good rotation at the cornerback position. And let's see, we also have LaShawn Sims. They're going to be able to move these guys around and do really well on defense. I'm really sold on the coaching. I don't know why. I feel like Vrabel is going to be able to get this team where they need to be. The defense, I believe, will be much improved. They'll be able to get more pressure on the quarterback. And then on offense, with Dion Lewis and Henry alternating, the offense should be a lot better. Of course, Delanie Walker at tight end is a huge contributor to this offense. And then we have Rashad Matthews. I look for Corey Davis to be able to stay healthy this year and be a big contributor. And all these reasons, all these things combined, I feel like it's a perfect storm for the Tennessee Titans. And I believe they will win the AFC South with a 10-6 record. The Texans will also be 10-6. So they're going to be neck and neck with the Texans. But I believe they're going to they will win the division off the head-to-head battle. And so that's going to conclude the AFC South. We got the Texans winning, followed by the Titans winning the division, followed by the Texans, the Jags, and then the Colts rounding out the AFC South. Okay, now going to the NFC South. Just 1 second here. Starting out, we have got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the bottom of this division. And that is not a knock on these guys at all. Out of all the divisions, I believe this is the toughest division. Of course, you've got Jameis Winston at quarterback. He is the type of player who could be a great player in this league for years to come. He's having issues right now, getting in trouble for something that happened 2 or 3 years ago. It's disrupting what's going on with this team, and it's just hard to pick them in this division. With you got the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers. Any one of those three teams in different publications would be a Super Bowl contender. So in this division, with any kind of turmoil going on, it's going to put you at a very big disadvantage. And it's unfortunate because they got Gerald McCoy on defense, tight end O.J. Howard. He's due to have a breakout year anytime now. See what they did in the draft. They brought in a defensive lineman at the number 12 pick, Ronald Jones at running back from USC in the second round. Okay, Jaquez Rogers is starting running back at the moment. Of course, wide receiver LaShawn Jackson and Mike Evans. They got some skill on this team. It's just with the way things are going at the moment, they're kind of they'll be lagging behind, but I believe they're going to be okay moving forward. This year it's going to be hard to compete in this division, which is why I got them at 6-10. And then moving up, we have the Carolina Panthers. They'd probably win most any other division in the league. It's just, like I said, this is a tough division this year. Their running game is somewhat lacking with Jonathan Stewart and Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey has been a big contributor in the pass game, not so much in the run game, but you know, that's definitely taken effect on this team. But you know, we'll see what these guys will be able to do. Luke Kuechly at linebacker, he's a huge, you know, big time player in the NFL. Also, you got Shaq Thompson at linebacker, another great player. Cam Newton, of course. You can't talk about the Panthers without mentioning Cam Newton. Excuse me. Anyway, they brought in wide receiver DJ Moore out of Maryland in the first round. They're looking to help out Devin Funchess at wide receiver. It's just, you know, Cam Newton's going to do his thing. They're gonna make some plays, and you know, they're going to be a tough team to beat. And just being in a tough division, you know, I see them probably splitting at worst, or at best they'll split with everybody. If anything, the Saints or the Falcons, one or both may sweep them, but they'll probably split with the Bucs, and they're going to win. I'm going to say around 8 games. They're going to be about 8-8, maybe 9-7. But like I said, it's going to be a tough year for Carolina this year. But moving forward, I believe I believe Cam Newton's he's a great player, good NFL quarterback. I believe he'll have Carolina back in the mix no later than next year. They could finish second or even win the division. And that brings me to the number 2 team in the division, which will be, in my opinion, the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, Matt Ryan at quarterback, he is a beast. They're loaded offensively. Julio Jones recently became the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. He's worth it. He's a very talented wide receiver. You got Deion Jones on defense, tight end Austin Hooper, defensive end Takk McKinley. Let's see, Mohamed Sanu at wide receiver to go along with Julio Jones. And then to round that off, you have got Calvin Ridley out of Alabama. Imagine Calvin Ridley as a slot receiver. I feel like he can be a star in this league at that position. He could be a number one in my opinion, but with this team, he's not going to be a number 1 over Julio Jones or probably even Sanu. But I believe he's gonna, he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder because a lot of people were kind of doubting him and his abilities carrying over in the NFL. Me, on the other hand, I'm not one of those people. I feel like he can absolutely blow it up in the NFL, and it's hard for me to put the Falcons at 2 just simply because I feel like this team is loaded. But, I believe the team I have at number 1 will be just a little bit better. I see the Falcons getting into the playoffs. They're good. They're still good on the defensive side of the ball, true front and the defensive secondary. Then they got Beasley and McKinley getting pressure on the quarterback. This is a good defensive team, good offensive team. They're going to be a good football team this year. I got them at 10-6, maybe even 11-5. But I feel like the Falcons are going to be a force, and they will be in the playoffs. And regardless of finishing second, they'll have a shot to get to the Super Bowl. They're just as good as anybody in the NFC. Just so happens one of the better teams in the NFC is also in their division, and that is the team I have winning the division, the New Orleans Saints. course, everybody knows Drew Brees, 39 years old now, but still a force in the NFL. Wide receiver Michael Thomas, and also Ted Ginn Jr., running backs both Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara burst onto the scene last year, and as a rookie, getting Rookie of the Year, I believe. Of course, let's see, Cameron Jordan on defense, rushing the quarterback. Then they also they drafted Marcus Davenport, number 14, out of University of Texas, San Antonio. He is one of the top players coming in. But they also have Okafor at that division, so it gives them some depth at the defensive end. And we've got Von Bell at safety, Davis in the middle at linebacker. This team, they've got the right pieces in place. They have the right coach in Sean Payton. The Saints are going to be one of those teams this year. They could make it to the conference championship, maybe not, but just because the NFC straight up is just going to be tough this year. There is a lot of talent in this division. A lot, like the division is deep. I mean, I can see 4 different teams that you could pick to go to the Super Bowl. So it's gonna, I'm gonna have to take a look at all these before I come out with the playoffs and my picks and everything, because I'm gonna have to think about it. It's gonna be a very good season as far as the playoffs are concerned in the NFC. I feel like the NFC is the stronger of the 2 conferences this year, and I believe they could very well, repeat as Super Bowl champions for the NFC. And that's going to do it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. We've got, just to recap on the NFC South, we got the Saints, followed by the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Bucks. Real quick, I got the Saints at 11-5, possibly 12-4. But that's going to wrap it up. And please, if you liked the video, like and share, and chime in. Give me your thoughts on my picks. If you disagree, agree, I'd love to hear what you got to say. Subscribe to the channel if you like the channel. And this is SportsBanter38, and I'm Coach Carroll, and we are out.